All right, so in this last section of brushes, we're going to talk about special brushes. So special brushes can do a lot of cool things for you. Depending on your software, you might have a larger or smaller variety of them, but so far every software I've used has had at least some. So what we'd classify as a special brush would be something that gives you a really unique and specific use. So for example, a texture brush is just a brush that has a texture. We can use it for a lot of different things. Paintbrush and drawing brushes are something that we can use to paint and, draw just about anything. Those are kind of like, if we were to think of it as our foundation, those would be at the bottom of the pyramid. Then texture brushes would be a little farther up, and special brushes would be at the very top. They're kind of like the icing on the top of the cake, so to speak. So what we're going to do for this one, we'll look at a couple of them, but for this particular painting, we're going to be using leaves, a leaf brush here. So I have this Leaf 3 brush here from one of the recommended packs of brushes for you to download. There's also one that comes with Photoshop if you want to use that. But yeah, just find some sort of, you can maybe even make your own if you really need to, but we're just going to use some sort of a leaf or foliage brush to create the leaves on this tree instead of going in by hand and painting them all one by one. So to start, the way I like to start is work from the back forward and from the bottom up. So we're going to start with a darker green here. I'm going to keep this all sort of towards the yellowish green, kind of more of a jungly color. We're going to start down here, and let me get my brushes a little smaller. It's kind of big there. Not going to work. Maybe a little smaller than that even, and a little darker. Yeah, even darker, because this is going to be our shadows. We're going to come back in with highlights. There we go. So I'm going to come in here, start painting in these leaves. And like I said, I'm thinking about these shapes that we sort of sketched out earlier. We don't want to be able to see the line art. Oh, and you know what? I just started painting on top. We need to make sure to make a new layer. So let's undo that really quick. Try again. All right, there we go. Covering up our line art here. So this layer is on top of everything else so far. And we're just going to come in and paint in all of these shapes. You can vary your brush, whoa, maybe not that much. Vary your brush size a little bit so that you can get some variety of leaf size and shapes. You don't want to vary it too much, otherwise it won't look like the leaves belong to the same tree, but breaking it up a little bit can help. And if you want, you can even do just like individual stamps by just kind of tapping down once. If you want some, break-offs of leaves there. All right. And then we just have this spot down here as well. Just adding a few stamps of leaves up there at the top. Guess that doesn't quite matter yet because we're going to be going with a lighter layer anyways, but brush those in. All right, cool. Now what we're going to do, we're going to bring this a little lighter and do a second pass really quick. We're starting to kind of lighten up the leaves. You can see it kind of makes it feel like there's a little bit of a canopy there as the leaves kind of go back. Cool. Now we go lighter here, and we bring it slightly more yellow. And because we're thinking about, imagine the light's just sort of coming from directly above, and so up towards the top, it's going to get a little bit greener, a little bit thicker, a little bit less of that canopy showing through underneath. Okay, and bring it even lighter now. And bring my brush size down just a bit as well. Starting to stamp in just individual stamps of leaves in certain places. Okay, and then let's do one final pass where it gets really bright. It's pretty much yellow. Once again, kind of thinking about that light source, how it's coming from up above. All right, and then lastly, just to kind of help tie this all back in together, I'm going to come back down to my color layer. I'm just going to use a regular brush here, round brush like we were using before. And I'm just going to darken up some of the shadows, so we'll get our eyedropper tool. And on that base layer, we can come in here and bring the shadows a little darker. There we go. And then I'll just lastly grab my eraser tool, bring it on back up to a nice hard edge there. We can clean that up just a bit. All right, there we go. So you can see how using all those 3 different types of brushes can give you a lot of variety in what you're painting, and it also can really speed up the process. If you would have had to gone through and paint all of these leaves one by one, probably wouldn't look as good, and 2, it would take 10 times as longer. So let's just look through a few other ones, for example, to kind of help give you an idea. Cloud brushes are another good example of when you might use a specialty brush. Oh, we're on eraser again. Let's pull that back. So for example, like this probably isn't something you'd use for anything else other than painting clouds, but it gets the job done really quickly and really effectively. You know, there's smoke ones, there's all sorts of different specialty brushes that you can find online for free. And the thing is, there's so many brushes out there. The best way to truly learn is going to be to experiment. You're just going to have to find different types of brushes and work with them, try them out. You know, we'll go over later in the course when we're painting specific things, you'll get to see us use certain specialty brushes and how we use them, and that can help give you ideas for your own painting. So that'll be it for this lecture, and I will see you guys in the next one.